Welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren and I'm self-converting my Ram ProMaster to live, travel, and work in full-time on the road. In today's video, I share how I installed my Kilmat sound deadening to the interior of my van.
So before we get started with the installation, I wanted to tell you why I chose to do sound deadening material and give you a few brand options in the market that you'll come across. Because vans are big metal boxes, sounds from the inside and outside environment are really amplified. So sound deadening is supposed to prevent those noises from entering and leaving your van. Sounds like road noise when you're driving, people outside your van, and even rain during storms. Also prevent the noises you create in your van from leaving, things like conversations. So how sound deadening works is as one sound vibration hits the metal of your van, that sound wave is absorbed by the deadening to prevent it from going into your van or leaving your van. Now, no matter who you ask, there's going to be some people that swear by sound deadening and say that it works like a charm. Others will say they didn't see much of a difference. Personally, I will be using 3M thin slit insulation, which does act as an acoustic barrier, so I don't necessarily need to do this step, but I figured for a small cost and easy install that I'd rather be safe than sorry. So you will see mixed reviews on forums of people swearing by it and others saying go ahead and just skip this step. When looking at sound deadening brands, you will come across the most common ones being Kilmat, which is what I chose, Noitco, Fatmat, and Dynamat, all of which are usually peel and stick and really easy to install. Fatmat and Dynamat are generally the more expensive options, especially when compared to Kilmat and Noitco. So you will hear and see people complaining about an asphalt smell, especially when they're in warm climates. Some people say they have it, some people say they don't. When I was installing it, I definitely did smell it, but as time went on, I don't really smell it anymore. So I definitely think it's more like that new car smell where it's there in the beginning, but it kind of goes away. Another thing to take into consideration before purchasing your sound deadening is the thickness you want to go with. Generally speaking, the thicker the material, the better it is at preventing noises. There's a 50mm and an 80mm. I went with the 80mm in the Kilmat, so I don't know if there's that much of a major difference that it's worth the extra cost, but just something else that you're going to have to consider when you're purchasing this material. With that, let's get right into the install process.
Here are the products and tools that you will need. Sound deadening material. I chose the 80mm by Kilmat with 34 sheets to cover 36 square feet. A roller. You can purchase one specific for this install from the manufacturer. To save money, I grabbed one from the kitchen. To cut the material, you'll need scissors or a box cutter, and a measuring tape if you feel it is necessary.
Something to consider is if you're installing your sound deadening during colder months, I have seen people also use hair dryers to help warm up the adhesive side so it sticks better to your van. The very first step of installing your sound deadening to your van is cleaning the surfaces that you intend to put the material on. That way the adhesive has a clean surface to stick onto with no dirt or grime to worry about.
I also touched up on any scratches my van has accumulated with Rust-Oleum Stop Rust Clean Metal Primer and Protective Enamel to prevent rusting down the road. It is easiest to apply with a foam brush.
Okay, so once your van is degreased, cleaned, and dried, then you are ready to start applying the sound deadening material. When you're applying it, you're going to remove this paper on the back to reveal the adhesive back that's going to stick to the inside of your van. As you can see, there is a texture on this mat, so you're going to know you've installed it correctly once it is on the wall, you've pushed it down, and this is a smooth surface and that textured bump is no longer there. One thing to note is it's not necessary to cover 100% of all of the metal inside of your van. They say only about 25% is enough to do its job. Anything more than that is really just a waste of money, material, and time, and it doesn't really add too much more of effectiveness. Not to mention if you were to do 100%, this stuff weighs quite a bit. This box is very heavy, so it'd also be a lot of added weight that you don't need in your van. I will be installing the Kilmat on the ceiling of my van, the walls, the floor, the doors, anywhere that's going to create noise. The only place that I'm going to do 100% coverage is on the wheel wells. There's a lot of noise that happens when you're driving down the road around the tires. So to avoid air bubbles, I'm finding it pretty easy just to start peeling the paper, put it on, and then as you go to push the rest of this down, slowly remove that paper. That way you don't have any air bubbles. So just something simply like this. And then you go ahead and keep rolling it down. So these are basic scissors. I'm just going to show you how easy it is to cut this. Just normal everyday scissors and just cutting through perfectly fine.
When installing on uneven surfaces like the ceiling and floor, I found it easiest to slowly peel away the back paper to reveal the adhesive side, then push the material into the crevices. To install the material on the interior of the doors, you'll need to remove the manufacturer's door panels using a door panel tool from an auto store or a flathead screwdriver to remove the rivets. To release the rivet, prop the top circle up. To reinstall it again, simply push down the top and it will fasten. The wheel wells are also an odd shape. If the material starts to crease, simply make a small cut at the curve to help it form better. Just like the ceiling, slowly work the material into the crevices on the floor.
The only thing I would change about the way I did the installation of my sound deadening is by taking the time to cut strips for the ribs on the ceiling and the floor to put the sound deadening in, because the shallow lower parts of the ribs are really where the noise comes from instead of the upper part of the ribs that are a little bit thicker. Would it have made much of a difference? I don't know. I would think that would only be about a marginal difference after everything is said and done, so I'm not too concerned about it. But with that, I hope this video gave you a better understanding as to what sound deadening is and how you can install it in your own van. Tune into my next video where I will be starting my subfloor. Until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.